Hey guys, welcome back to our channel.
Welcome. This is the first time we have Divine and Nox in frame. Not just like a side of her head or anything. It's the whole of her.
Side of
and
her
the
head.
whole of me.
Oh, and guys, I'm Nox, the N of DNN.
And I'm Divine, the D of DNN.
We'd like to welcome you.
Welcome. Have a seat.
Please grab a cup of tea,
Coffee.
water, air.
Okay. Okay.
So guys, we really have something special to bring to you. We are doing another new series.
Welcome.
New, fresh, more energetic,
Yes.
more purposeful.
Yes. More to the heart. I
More
feel like
to
love
the
was to the
heart.
heart, but this is like to the heart.
Yeah.
So we really hope you guys are excited. I feel like you guys really enjoy like when we do series wise, because it's like Divine and Nox view, Divine's view, Nox's view.
Right.
Why did I say Divine and Nox?
Because I'm both of everything.
Period.
Okay. So I feel like that is a beautiful. Are you okay? So funny. You're so funny to yourself. Okay. So I feel like you guys really enjoy it when we have series format. So I think it's very important to bring it like that, especially with how juicy this topic is.
Right.
Like I said, we're very individuals. Like we are friends, we care about each other, we have the same, I guess, framework or basis, but I think it still is such a unique view. So
because we're human beings that
You
have gone
understand.
through different journeys.
different journeys, different experiences. So I think it's so beautiful then when we bring you topics like the ones that we're going to be speaking about, that you see that we have unique minds that are still in sync. I don't know if it makes sense.
So true.
But I'm really excited. We've been thinking about this for a while, especially with the current
The currents.
the current currents of the world, the current states of the world. I think it's so relevant, purposeful. So yeah, I hope you guys are ready. I hope you guys stick around for that series. And yeah, let's get into it.
Okay guys, hi. So I think what we want to first start off before, whenever we want to discuss a topic where especially a topic that is so in depth and has so many facets and dynamics and different views, it's so important to sort of lay the foundation.
Yes.
And the foundation, first of all, being that how is it that we see things? You know, what are the perspectives? Whether you can talk about backgrounds that inform how we look at things, because obviously how you see things and how I see and Divine see might be slightly different, as we said, based on the fact that we're all humans and we go through life with different experiences and different encounters that we have with life. So it's always important to say, okay, this is the perspective and the viewpoint that I'm coming from.
Yes, I think it lays a good foundation, because I guess this is more so about like what is our point of reference, what is the lens through which we choose to see like the different topics that we're going to be speaking about. Because if you don't stand for anything and you kind of like, no, I'm just, I'm cool with not that you must fight. If you just, I'm cool with everybody and everything goes, it's like, okay, but what do you believe in?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong about having
you understand
a belief.
It's very important, because it sets you apart, and it gives you a center. Because when things start rising up, and you will see with the topics that we're speaking about, you're gonna have a point of reference. But who am I? What do I believe in? What informs the way that I feel? So it's foundational. It's the basis from which we go.
So true. So basically what we want to start with is the human experience. Okay?
Welcome to
to the
the human experience.
human experience.
You made it. You're a human being.
Exactly, and you're most welcome in this space. And basically what we want to do with the specific human experience sort of title is that, what is Divine's human experience? What is her perspective? What is her lens? What is Nox's perspective? What is her lens? And hopefully in the process you're also asking yourself, what's your perspective? What's your lens? And how do you look at things? And why do you see things? Or do you even, when they say warning triggers, like why would something trigger you as opposed to maybe the same thing not triggering me? So,
Very good. Okay, you just gonna put me on the spot like that. Okay, so what we wanted to kind of go into is to start by saying every perspective that we have is basically from our upbringing and our faith.
Right.
If you've been in this channel long enough, you will see that these are basically our cornerstones, the way that we look at life, even if it's not easy. Sometimes it's like, this is on my faith, this is how I'm behaving, Jesus. Where do I go from here? So even when it's not comfortable, it still is my cornerstone.
The point of reference.
You
it's where you
understand?
always, it's like your blueprint. That's where you always go back to, because at the end of the day, like she says, if you're not anchored in something, you'll just blow.
Bro.
Like if a boat is not anchored, it just goes with the wind. You'll be here, you'll be there, tough seas. You have to be anchored in something, and what we're anchored in, like she said, is our faith. Christ Jesus.
We love you.
I ain't afraid to say it.
If you're watching this, subscribe, comment, and like Jesus. We love you.
Oh, I thought you were saying if Jesus is watching this, he should comment and subscribe.
Yeah, you should. But yes.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, like our backgrounds, we are African females. I mean, I think those two things are so important, as well as leading up to the conversations
that
we're about to have, is that we
Yes.
have a perspective from an African female background, black household background.
Yes.
You know, so I think that's also very important for us to just.
So I think it's important to also view it like that, and I think this is not something to be afraid of or something to feel like I can't relate to this. It's not specifically because this is the African perspective or the African household or the woman's perspective, that it can't be something that you can learn from. It can't be something that you can enjoy. It can't be something that can teach you something. And I think you will see the purpose of all this conversation, the videos that we're gonna have, is not just to sit here to look cute and to film something. It's also to make sure that we educate one another.
So true.
Not to lecture you, but I learned, especially with what we've been speaking about, the waves and stuff that's going on in the world, and if you're not anchored, I feel like it brought a lot of things to the surface. And my best way of dealing with it was not just to sit there and be angry, but to say, okay, how can I be of help to somebody that might not have my perspective, might not understand why this is upsetting me or this is difficult for me. And I think the best way is to educate, and educating doesn't mean you're gonna sit there with a pen and pencil. If you want to, you can, you know, make sure you have a sharpener and air tongue, but it's mostly about sharing a story. We're going to be sharing our stories, and as somebody that's artistic, I feel like I learned more about culture and people's experiences through watching movies and series, and you know, going to art galleries and stuff like that. It was more so when somebody tells me a story, I listen more than a lecture. So it's learning, but it's learning that's fun. It's learning where you get to know us, and hopefully you guys share your stories as well.
So true. I think at the end of the day, personal experience does not lie.
Yes.
We can talk about theory and things that are in the air, but we have to bring it back home.
Yes.
If someone says something to me, and how I perceive it, that is a personal experience. You as a person cannot deny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So whatever we're speaking about, we are going to bring it home so we can show you through these very heavy topics what our personal experiences have been, because it's undeniable. You know, it's not something where you can be like, oh, but it happened to us.
me.
We felt it.
Yeah.
You know, so let's not just talk about what has been going on in the world and what are we actually trying to get to with this video. I think, as we've mentioned, like, the world right now is up in arms.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot of information circulating. There's a lot of topics going around. And I think COVID, I don't even know if I can say that, but the quarantine period has almost forced us all to have a stop in our lives.
Yeah.
You know, not allowed to go anywhere, not allowed to go to work, not allowed to, you know, the list goes on. We're kind of forced to just sit. And the only thing most of us actually interacted with was social media. You know what I mean? So what has been going on in social media? What are the things that we've picked up? And what are the things that we want to discuss through those, you know, things that we caught on?
I think what was really important and beautiful during the quarantine, like you said, everybody was brought to a stop, and things that you maybe didn't have the time to, maybe didn't have the courage to look at.
Courage.
Because you were stuck and all you had was basically your phone. You had to face these things, and there's only so many people that you can block. There's only so many things that you can skip through without it penetrating you. And I don't mean penetrating in the wrong way where it's like it's festering in you and it becomes something negative in you, but really making you face things that you wouldn't necessarily face when you're in the comfort of your own space, of your own reality. So I think it was very beautiful to come to that place, and like she said, now what perspective am I gonna form from that? When I see what I see, when I hear what I hear, and when everything is like, okay, you can't run away from it. And I think for once, I guess people just collectively, like you say, up in arms, like there's just so much you can say, oh, racism is not so bad, or come on, until you see somebody being killed on video. What now?
What now? Speaking of which, you know what I found so amazing, sad, and funny at the same time? And by funny, I mean hilarious. Not like, what is it? Hysterical. Not hilarious, hysterical. Is that I feel like there was this movement initially before lockdown.
Yeah.
Where there was, you know, Black Lives Matter. There was that whole movement, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. And then there was this like, sort of like counter wave of all lives matter, all lives matter. I don't know how many memes came up, you know, and stuff came up out of that. But anyway, then lockdown happened. And then, like she said, so basically now we found ourselves in a situation where there's still the Black Lives Matter lingering sort of like in the air, in our minds, you know. And then full force, here comes a video of a black man being killed brutally by a policeman. And then people roar again, Black Lives Matter. And I feel for the first time, I did not see that backlash that was like all lives matter, because I think that you can't now argue because there's evidence.
But here's the thing, people still...
No, they still, but I just feel like, as I said, it wasn't as intense as previously, where it was just like, yo, all lives matter. There was even people marching saying all lives matter. You know, I mean, please, honey.
We're gonna get into this deeper, I feel like.
Yeah.
But you see, it's with things like that happening, or when you actually see somebody, a woman that's pregnant that was hung, by her partner, and now it's like, I mean, it hits even closer to home. You know, it's like, okay, how you angry, you sad, you outraged. How do you filter that through the lens that we spoke about, my Christianity? Because here's the thing, I feel like, and something that we're gonna get into more details later on in our individual videos as well in the series, is that I'm very careful to remember that I am not a black Christian. I'm a Christian person that's a woman that's black. Because I think with those lenses, I was angry, I was hurt, I was sad, and it even got worse when people that are, you know, that are considered friends or acquaintances had a perspective of all lives matter, or, you know, you're just being dramatic when you're saying that men need to be held accountable, that there needs to be conversations that begin around gender-based violence. It's like, but I thought you cared, if not about me, about your mother, about your sister. And that's a whole other conversation. You should just care for people because they are, not because you should attach a tag, you know, but she was divine, she was, I don't know, she was Knox's friend, or she was somebody's daughter. She could be an orphan and she's still valuable. George Floyd didn't need to be a father for his life to not deserve to die, to be gone like that. I don't know if I'm making sense. Like, we shouldn't attach adjective to life to give it worth. It is worthy because God made them.
It's life.
It's life. You know what I'm saying? So
True.
in all of these conversations, it's so important to have an anchor, because without an anchor, then people will probably riot, people will get angry, people will retaliate in a way that's not healthy or constructive. So I think that's why we started with foundationally, this is what we believe. Now here's quarantine, we faced with these things that you have to look at. How do you respond to that?
And just to add on that, I think another thing that a lot of people might have realized, especially people who were, for lack of a better word, ignorant, would have realized that these issues are not issues that are just from the lockdown itself. This has been going on.
It's been intensified.
Gender-based violence, Black Lives Matter, and, you know, black people being oppressed by systems that were meant to protect people, first of all. It's not a new thing. It's been happening in the 21st century, way prior to, well, I mean, even in the prior to the 21st, we don't even want to go there because
a history. It's not a
you know what I mean. This has been going on, and for some people to only be waking up to the realization that this has been happening to certain groups is unacceptable. For me personally, I'm sorry to say it harsh, it's really unacceptable that you have found yourself in a position where you could have never even cared to inquire. That being said, hence why this video is so important, is because we want to really shed light to these things. You know what I mean? It really sucks to be a black person and to see other black people being mishandled, treated with oppression, killed. I cannot express how helpless one can feel, especially, as I said, it's like we're in the 21st century, we're supposed to have protection, education, access to whatever, but it's still not happening. Where do we go from here? You know, the questions that you ask yourself, especially personally when I was in lockdown, I was like, where do we begin? Because it's like this thing is just continuing, it's getting worse, it's spiraling out of control. People know nothing's being done. You know, I don't know if you guys felt like a sense of helplessness, because I really did.
I think for me
initially,
I don't initially. There's hope.
There is hope.
There's always hope, and I think I can really relate to that. For me, it was just a sense of, like you said, helplessness. I felt more angry because you don't have an excuse anymore. Whether it's lockdown or not, you've been around long enough to, even if it's like I grew up on the farm and I've never seen black people before, so I didn't know how to interact with them. You've seen TV shows, you have human experiences. And that's why this is called the human experience, that you should get to a place where you realize that these are people. Whether or not I agree, whether or not I look like them, I should care. And I remember, like, I had a conversation with somebody that I care for, and then they were like, you know, but you don't care about what's going on in South Africa or whatever. I'm like, it's not about that. What you don't understand is I really feel like I am privileged in many ways, but also geographically speaking. I'm a black woman here. The dangers that I face are not what black women in America face. Pick me up from South Africa and put me in Michigan. If the police stops me, I will be worried. Pick me up from here, put me in New York, it's like, oh my God. That's what people don't understand, that just because my pain is not the same as theirs, it doesn't mean I can't empathize. And I think it goes back to that empathy, being able to understand people even if you don't necessarily relate to them 100%. You understand what I'm saying? These are still people. And so it's very, very important. Like I said, I also felt helpless, more angry than helpless, and just yeah,
I think a lot of people get stuck in this thing of like trying to protect this thing that doesn't exist, trying to protect your, for example, whiteness, or trying to protect your blackness, you know, in the expense of people dying, or the expense of not acknowledging that people are getting hurt out there, females are being killed out there, but you would rather say, you know what, to keep my people, or to show that I'm siding with my people, I don't know what you want to call it, you would rather just not admit that this is wrong, whether you are looking at it from whichever perspective. Whether you're looking at it from a Christian perspective, an atheist, it's just wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why there's this sense of like, no, if I'm saying that, yeah, I agree that Black Lives Matter, automatically it means that, no, I'm actually saying that white lives don't matter. They're not paradoxical. It's not a yin and a yang.
Yeah, and that's the other thing as well. It's very important. The reason why I felt a lot of anger as well is because I felt like a lot of people were very passive to something that you should not be passive about. It's like, but you know my heart. Here's the thing, and I'm gonna get it. I feel like we
know my heart.
I'm getting into things that I want to speak on my individual video and stuff like that, but I think what's very important as well to understand is, like, I get it, you posting Black Lives Matter one day doesn't change systemic racism, or doesn't change a lot, or saying that, you know, like, women are getting killed doesn't mean that somebody stops getting killed, but at least you acknowledge, you voice where you stand from, and it's a way forward. I think I don't think we understand that. For me as a black person, knowing that my white friend care about my blackness means a lot to me. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's very, just saying that, then I know. And it's not just about, well, but in secret, you know, love is not something that's supposed to be secret. Support is not supposed to be something that's secret. Because when people are racist and people are xenophobic or people are sexist, they don't do that in secret. They don't say, you know, in my heart, I hate you for being a woman, and
it's
I hate you for
vocal.
It's very vocal. So I don't understand why support, love, care is passive and quiet. And here's the thing, we don't all have to fight. We're not activate. Everybody is not the same, but there's still something that you can do. 100%. And it's about that for me. It's about empowering people. I know a lot of my friends that are white feel like almost disempowered. Like, I do care about Black lives, but I feel like it's not my conversation to take part in, and we're gonna speak about
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Is because, you know, of this lack of feeling like if I now speak and say, it's actually moving me away from my comfort zone, my safety net. It moves you away. That's what it does. It moves you away from that sort of like discussion maybe that a person might be having at home or with their close-knit friends, that, oh, this group of people is like this, or this group. When you stand and say, actually, I'm with them and I'm supporting them, it removes you from that space, and it's daunting.
But it's necessary.
You'd
rather be.
And we're not going to be saying anymore, oh, we understand why you wouldn't. We don't understand. We don't understand. It's enough. It's enough. I cannot stress how terrible it feels like to constantly be living in fear. You're living in fear because you're a woman. You're living in fear because you're black. You're living in fear because you're from another part of the... Exactly. You're a foreigner. I wasn't even sure if that was the grammatically right thing to say.
It is.
Because you're a foreigner. Like, it's just... When does it end? It's like, okay, surely I just have to die in order to be in this world. And I don't think that should be the way.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be corrected by black people. Oppressive systems can not only be corrected by the oppressed.
Yeah.
Because that's it's like
I didn't make it though.
I didn't make it though, but that's what's happening is that black people are rising. We need justice.
Fighting.
We are.
Where's everybody else?
Where's everybody else? Women are fighting. Where are the dudes? Where are you guys when we need you so much during this time? A lot of guys love to say, yeah, but we aren't the, and we'll also get to all of that. But no, we are the good guys, especially when people were like, men are this or men are that. And I'm not going to mention names because I don't also want to perpetuate that. But it's like, that's not what we're saying. We're not trying to remove your spotlight that you're a good man. Yeah. But right now, there's some bad men. Yeah. And we need good men to stand with women.
Yeah.
You understand? So it doesn't remove, and that's the thing. If a guy says, no, I'm supporting women, once again, it removes them from their guy nest, their man cave, or their man kingdom.
This is why it's the human experience. I think we need to connect with one another on a human level before anything else.
On a human
Because if you don't care about somebody as a human, you won't care for my blackness. And I am black.
You don't look at my gender.
I'm a woman. I love being a woman. Like, honestly, I do. And if you exclude me from everything that God has created me naturally to be, and you want to see me colorblindness and anything else, you remove my flavor. And I don't...
You remove the flavor and the experience.
And it's beautiful.
There are some great experiences that one has as a black person and one has as a woman.
Yeah.
Really amazing experiences that I wouldn't trade for the world. You know what I mean? And I don't want that to be removed, and I can't be happy for that because constantly you have to be in fear of something else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think what it boils down to, this whole conversation that we've been having, is that the two key issues that we feel during lockdown have been highlighted are namely
gender-based
violence
and racism.
And that's that whole winded long story that we had was to get us to this point.
I love you so much. A whole choreography right there. Okay.
So this whole discussion was to really get us to this point where we're saying our topics or main focus is to talk about gender-based violence and racism from the perspective of Divine, from the perspective of Knox, and the perspective, when you put it collectively, as Divine and Knox.
Yeah.
We're not going to be shy about our experiences.
Yeah.
We're not going to be afraid about our experiences. We want to share, and we hope that it's going to open your eyes, I think on either side, whether you find yourself as a white person here on our channel, or you find yourself as a black person or a woman or a male, and you find yourself and you're just like, okay, I don't know. This is not about which side you could take at this point in time. This is actually about, let's inform each other, like she was saying earlier. Let's share and not be afraid to share our stories because we're afraid that, we're going to offend someone.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to say it this way so that, I can just tiptoe around this person.
We're not tiptoeing.
We're not tiptoeing. We are making noise. And if you want to join the noise party, join us. You are more than welcome. And we also want to hear your experiences as well.
I think it's very, very important. And I think one of the two, the blueprint to this will be that we want to look at gender-based violence and racism in the family context. Where does it start? What are the systems that begin this education, maintain this education, perpetrates this education? And I know you're gonna be like, at home, yes, at home, in families, and then at school, and then scary enough, sometimes religion is used to perpetrate this thing. So just because I'm Christian don't mean that I don't see that some systems or some beliefs or people, not God, people will use religion in a way that's oppressive to either people of color. I mean, apartheid was instated by the states, backed by the church. What church? I want to go find out, by the way. I'm not mad. I just want to talk.
No, we just want to talk and maybe drop a few bombs. I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? So I think we're going to look at these different perspectives and where it starts, what begins a belief systems, what maintains a belief system.
And perpetuates it. So much so that it lasts through generations and it becomes timeless. Because you ask yourself that some of us honestly went to the same schools.
Yeah.
There are people who I can tell you, okay, we started like when we were babies from creche up until this point, and still out of their mouth something will come out where you're just like, how though? Like,
who taught you that?
Who taught you that? Because that's where it comes in. Okay guys, don't forget to
Like,
and
comment,
and
subscribe,
and
share,
and
don't be racist.
yo guys, so thank you so much for joining us. This was Divine and Nox, and we can't wait to see you in our next videos. Bye.
That was such a sweet bye. Record time.
Okay girl, you